Hello, Year 13 BTEC ICT students. Um, Good afternoon. Um, Before I start, I want to say thank you for submitting Unit 26 D1 task. And those of you who submitted and did the calculation correctly, you all got achieved a distinction. So well done, Year 13. I know it's not easy, and you were in your Easter holiday. Easter holiday just finished now, and yet you continue to work throughout the 2 weeks during the Easter holiday, and you worked and you improved your work and submitted the work and met the deadline. So well done. Now the work I'm going to set you is the last unit of your Year 13 BTEC Triple IT work. It's Unit 8, e-commerce, and my focus is on P1 criteria. uh, P1 assessment criteria is describe the technologies required for e-commerce, which means building the website to um, um, make a business about it. Now, our lesson learning objective, you should know the technologies required for an e-commerce system to work, and your learning outcome by the end of this unit, uh, y- you should be able to describe the hardware technology, the software technology, and the networking technologies required to implement an e-commerce system. In this part one of the video, I will only describe these two. And the part two, I will describe the networking technologies. Okay, now let's go to number 3. PowerPoint slide number 3. The technologies required for e-commerce. So for hardware, obviously you need a web servers. And for software, you will need browsers, server software, web authoring tools, sometimes web authoring tools, we call it web editing tools, and you will need a database system. The database system here is a database server system we are talking about. It's not the Microsoft Access database that you have worked and learned in Unit 18 BTEC work. Okay, and and it's also for networking technologies. You will require TCP/IP ports and protocol, and there's also other consideration when you want to have a website to make money. So you have to think about things as the domain names, and do you want to register a multiple registration of domain names, um, other programming requirements, the download speeds of your website, and a chosen browser to display your website, and the platform compatibility. Okay, so for the part one of this uh, video, I'm going to talk about the first two bullet point: hardware and software technologies required to implement an e-commerce system. Okay, now you would have read read this, I presume. Unit 8 e-commerce, that's the specification and all the four learning outcomes. Yep. And you would have seen this assignment 1. The P1 assessment criteria come from Unit 8 assignment 1, uh, P1, P2, M1. It's all in task 1. Um, Here is the, let me make it bigger. Here is the scenario written in blue writings, and P1 is here. All this is P1. Okay, yeah. And you would have noticed all the bullet points in this Word document. It's actually all the bullet point that's detailed in my PowerPoint just now. Now, here, if you read P1 here, you would have seen here you need to ensure you cover the following in your presentation. Presentation. So what do you mean by presentation? You got it right? Yes, which means for P1 task or P1 assessment criteria, you are going to create a PowerPoint presentation or presentation in maybe you are using Google document, okay, and email it to me. Okay, so now, right, let's go back to our PowerPoint. So for the hardware technology, slide number 4, the hardware technology is a web server. So I think in your PowerPoint, you should write about web server. I'm not asking you just write one or two sentences. So you should describe, first of all, what is a server, okay? And then for after that, what is a web server? And then answer this question, the purpose or the roles of a web server. What do they do? And how does a web server delivers web pages or deliver its roles? Okay, I have all these YouTube here. Okay, and you ought to watch them and listen to them. And although some of the links are talk about the same thing, but the videos are different. Is introduced by different presenters, and some of the video talks about some of the things that the second video didn't talk about. Therefore, I give you two or three video links for you to watch, so that you can get the best out of both or three different video links from YouTube. Okay, server. What is a server? If you search on the internet, okay, right. Server is a specialized computer. It is a hardware. It's a highly specialized computer that's a design uh to do special purpose only. It's dedicated to one purpose only. Okay. Um. So in this case, the server is to serve the clients which are us. Yep, all other computers uh, on the network system request a server for a service to deliver some uh, web pages, and then the server will answer back our requests. Okay, so of course, a server being a specialized computing device, it cannot work until there are software operating system software installed on it, then only a server will work. Therefore, when you search for the definition of a server, okay, or sometimes a web server, in this case, what is a web server? It will tell you, you will get answers such as a web server is computing computer programs. But a web server is not just a computer program, it's both. It's a computer program installed on the computing device. So the software installed on a hardware, then only the web server will work. Okay, so so therefore, web server is a piece of highly specialized computing device, a hardware with um, a web operating system installed on it to run this web server so that it can deliver the web pages to the client's computer. The client computer again is as all other client computers on the network. So that will be the web server. Okay, in a very simple way, I simple term in a very simple term, I explain to you in this way, but you have to watch this video. Now the first video here is, you have to watch this video so that you can get a better um a better uh understanding and a better descriptions to describe the function of web server and how web server works in more detail and in-depth description in your PowerPoint presentation. Okay, Um, okay, here. This is this. Yes. Now you can see a server has many different type of server. There's web server, there can be database server, file server, print server, mail server, proxy server. That so you watch this video. It's only 7 minutes, and then the second YouTube link. Yep, second YouTube link will be this one here. Okay, now this one, this video looks a bit boring, and the way the presenters speak is not interesting, but it has a very good detail and technical information, which I think you all should learn and learn the keywords and learn the technical terms so that you can hopefully you can understand it and use these computing terms, networking terms in your PowerPoint description. Okay, I like this video. And the third one, how the website work, and this one, and then the last one, they are all here. How okay? How's the website work? This is the first link how a website works. Website is actually a collection of documents or files that you can access through the internet. What kind of documents? You have learned from Unit 28, creating the website, BTEC unit. So a collection of document, yes, you are right, documents such as HTML document, uh, all the images, JPEG, PNG, bitmap, and all the video files, mainly MPEG 4, and also a sound file, audio file, uh, s- uh, to make music, to play music, and maybe also animation, animated GIF files. You store on a CSS file also. Okay. Um, then these files stored on a web server, it can be delivered to the client computers. Okay, and then another video. These ladies, she covered quite a lot of topics, although there's not so much words, but she says a lot of things. And also, one thing I must say, when you watch this video, if you can, if they have it, it's good to turn on these subtitles or closed caption. As you are listening to the presenter, you can read what they are actually talking. Okay, and then the last video is this one, and this one again is trying to explain to you how website work. Again, what I liked about this video is that it has quite some technical networking terminology which you can learn and incorporate these technical terms into your P1 writing in your presentation. Okay, so that it makes your work looks more solid. It looks that it appears as though you have more secure knowledge. Okay, now this is the hardware and this is the software bit. Now the software bit have a bit more videos and links. Why? Because there are quite a few software you need in order to run an e-commerce website. Obviously browser. Okay, so here you define what is a browser and how does a browser function and how does a browser loads a website. So there are four different video here, one, two, three, four. So so when you talk about browser, I don't really want you to just say a browser is a browser software that allows you to view web pages on the internet. Example of browser will be Google Chrome, Internet Explorer. That's it. That will be your description of browser finish. I want you to be In P1 task, I want you to describe browser even more in depth. Beside telling me, beside the stating um, what is a browser, and give me different examples of browsers. Yeah, for example, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, Firefox. That is not enough. You want to go more in depth to it. So therefore, that's how does a browser function? How does a browser load a website? Yeah. Therefore, that's how this video that comes in. Mm, the browser. Okay, let's look at the first one. Okay, the first video link, what is a web browser? It's only 2 minutes. Okay, and the second video link, that's only 1 minute. What is a browser? Again, you can turn on and off, or turn on the subtitle captions. Yep, so that you can read what the presenter is talking about and hear how web browsers function. Again, a 4 minutes video. Let's turn on the captions so that you can read and listen to the say at the same time. And number four, the fourth video, how a web browser builds and display a web pages. So you can, after you watch this video, hopefully you can describe how the web browser will build up the web pages on the client computer, or in front of you in on your computers, you being the client. And software, the second software is a server software. Okay, here what you need to do is describe different web server operating system and give example. Okay, and if you can, briefly describe how they work. You don't have to go into detail how the operating system work, because it will be far too too much, but at least you can briefly explain it how the web server operating system work. Okay, now there are two links here. There's one link and then the second link. Now the web server operating system, there are two category. One is the Linux, or sometimes is Unix. They are both open source software, which means they are free to download. And Linux and Unix, they are mainly run on um, for the Apple Mac machine. Okay, servers, those type of web server. And also you have a web server that's used Windows only web operating system. Okay, so these are the two different category of web server operating system that are available for the web server, the huge, massive, specialized computer device. Now here you also have something called WAMP server. You can research on the internet. WAMP server, WAMP. WAMP server is a piece of software. Again, it's an open source software where you can download it from the internet freely and download it on your own computers. And when that happens, you can turn your own computers into a server, a web server. Yep, so there you go. I'll type up this web server tutorial. And of course, before that, I will download the web server software first. Okay, and then I can go to this tutorial and type in how to install the web server on my home computer, and also turn my home computer uh, to become a web server, so that if I make a website, yeah, okay, working with web server to create a database and host a website. If I make the website on my own computer and turn my own computer to become a web server, then I can show my website on the internet using my own computers, because now my home computer is a web server now. But the only disadvantage is that your home computer will have to be on 24/7 in order for other people around the world to see the website that you have created on your home computer. Okay, can you see, working with WAM server to create a database and host the website from your own home computers? Right. So this is a WAM server. Now, if you look at server software, okay, this is first link. This is this link. Yeah, the first this link. Okay, so if you look at this one, you can quickly browse through this web server, quick history and definition, web server technology, what makes them sick, uh, additional web server tasks. Okay, web server versus hosting definition. Now here, that is where the web server operating system comes in. These are the web server software. Okay, now if you read here, let me oops, let me make it a bit bigger. Okay, now if you read here, now okay, web server operating system rely on Unix or Linux. Okay, now can you see? And the example of Linux here, we have Apache. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Nix, and then Tomcat. Okay, now look at here, Apache HTTP server. This is the web server operating system. Okay, and then of course it belongs to Apache, belongs to the Linux family. And then you have Apache Tomcat web server operating system, and then again the Apache Tomcat belongs to the Linux family or Linux category. And here you also have this unpronounceable web server software, Nix. And again, this software web server operating system belongs to Linux family as well. Okay, and they're all free to, as far as know they're all free. Yeah, can you see? Apache is an open source software. It's free to download. You just have to look for it. And again, can you see? Tomcat is open source software. Right, okay. And this one as well, Nix is also available for free. Okay, right. And this one, oh, there's another one called Live Speed Web Server Operating System. And this server software again is come from the Linux family. Now, the only one that is not from the Linux is from Windows. Let's see. Yeah, okay. From Windows. Okay. Windows web server operating system is this one, Microsoft IIS. That is Microsoft Internet Information Service server software to help you to you need this software to install on the web server that runs on a Windows operating system. That will help you to run the um, server, the web server. Okay, so you can look at this and you can talk about it using the information here, and and then using your own words, and then talk about it. Okay, and the web server, you can, yeah. Okay, you see there are lots of information here about WAM server, and you can do your own search about WAM server and then describe it in your presentation. Now we come to one that you are very familiar with because you have done Unit 28, creating a website, BTEC unit, web authoring tools. Basically is web editing tools. Basically is website software. software that enable you to create a website. So what is it? You should talk about it, and then you should give example of web editing tools that you know. Okay, and the very easy common one you can think of is Adobe Dreamweaver, which you have used before. Okay, uh, if beside Adobe Dreamweaver, what you can do is you can website